Get the f on the ground now.
CBR Street Gang.
Can I at least finish the episode? So every once in a while, there's a politician that comes along that thinks that they know what's best for everyone and they have nothing better to do but to try to go after entertainment. And this does not seem to be any exception. Now, full disclosure, I just want to say that I'm not a political channel. I'm never going to be. I really don't like talking about political type stuff. But I'm only going to touch on it lightly here just because of the implications that this could have if this actually goes through. So let's get into it. It starts off with Republican senator introduces bill to define obscenity, quote unquote, may pose risk to video games and anime. So let's kind of get further into this. A Republican senator has introduced a bill titled S.1671, a bill to define obscenity, whatever, for purposes of the Communications Acts of 1934 and other purposes. The bill has been introduced by Senator Mike Lee, making it the latest in right-wing attacks against media, a Republican bill in Texas which could have potentially made watching quote-unquote Goblin Slayer a felony. It's been stalled in the state legislature earlier this year. Okay. So they obviously saw this was ridiculous. Currently, media is given a lot of leeway when it comes to explicit, grotesque, or otherwise potentially... Sorry, guys. I forgot to turn off my stream elements alerts, and so someone subbed to me in the middle of making the video. By the way, William Amson, sorry if I didn't pronounce that. Thank you for subbing to the channel. Highly appreciate it. Anyway, let me go ahead and continue on here. So it says, while restrictions on obscenity are still on the books, some consider them to be unenforceable, the First Amendment reasons. And currently, obscenity is defined by what is called the quote-unquote Miller test. The Miller test is a series of 3 qualifications which potentially remove the First Amendment protections from potentially obscene speech. Well, so they're talking about speech here, so I'm not really sure what this has to do with the content itself. But I digress. Let me go ahead and get further on. It says, number 1, whether the average person applying contemporary community standards would find that the work taken as a whole appeals to the prudent interest. Number 2, whether the work depicts or describes in a patently, I wonder if they meant blatantly, I don't know, patiently offensive way, that conduct, I don't want to say that word because it's YouTube, or extraordinary functions specifically defined by applicable state law. Sorry if I'm messing up these words. Number 3, whether the work taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. The nebulous nature of the test has given media a relatively free pass, but should existing laws become more readily enforceable, it could have a chilling effect on video games and anime. After all, didn't Jack Thompson and other moral puritans of the late 20th century consider video games to lack serious literacy, artistic, political, or scientific value? Currently, here is the full text. Currently the full text of the bill is unavailable. Well, let's see. I'm kind of curious. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I'm not. Okay. So it's introduced. There's nothing there. Okay. There's another link here. So let me kind of get more into this because this was, they touched on this previously on this site as well. All right. So they said we first reported on Texas SB number 20, a Republican-backed bill which would criminalize owning or watching several popular anime. Now they keep saying that, but I'm just curious like where they're getting that idea from. But let me continue. Now that the bill has been stalled due to Democrat opposition in the Texas House. To recap, okay, so maybe this will give me a better understanding. To recap, S.B number 20 was introduced under the guise of combating bad things happening to kids. Okay, so let me just stop there real quick. I can understand where they're coming from with that. I think as a society, we should be able to collectively agree that that is bad and that we should be protecting children. All right. But now let me emphasize real children. So let me emphasize that. All right, so let me continue. But the actual text of the bill makes it clear that it goes much further than that. Okay. In its own words, it would create a new state of offense for the possession or promotion of obscene material that appears to depict a child younger than 18 years old, regardless of whether the depiction is an actual child, cartoon, or animation, or an image created using an artificial intelligence application or other computer software. Okay, so hold on, let me read a little bit further. Furthermore, subparagraph C of the bill states an offense under this section is a state jail felony, directing the first-time offenders convicted under this law to a minimum of 5 years in prison simply for owning or viewing such material. All right. As many pointed out, this would ban any anime in which a character under 18 is shown topless, regardless of context. Of course, it would also criminalize controversial anime or manga such as Goblin Slayer, which depicts but does not condone violence against people. Yet now Democratic opposition in the House have temporarily blocked the bill from reaching the governor's office. The bill was stalled on May 1st. While the censorship bill unanimously passed the Texas Senate, the Texas House of Representatives was always considered to be a harder hurdle to cross due to its bipartisan makeup. A whopping 62 seats are held by the Democrats, still a minority. This is a larger percentage of Democrats than are contained in the Senate. This means only a few Republican congressmen crossing over to the Democratic side to oppose the bill would doom it. It should be noted that the bill is not dead, only stalled, and may eventually pass through budget reconciliation or other means. Niche Gamer will continue to cover this story, and I will leave a link to this article in the description. Okay, so first of all, let me say this. Let's just not pretend that the government really cares. Right, like this, they're saying it's to protect a certain group of people, but that's not really what this is about. To me, this just screams, I'm a politician that doesn't like this, and you shouldn't have it. Imagine you go and buy a high school DxD DVD, or you're watching it on Crunchyroll or what have you, and all of a sudden now it's a felony offense. Like, come on. Do we really need the government to tell us what we can and can't watch? I understand a lot of people are divided. You know, a lot of people have their stance on depictions of certain ages and anime and things like that. But here's where I come in with that. It's anime. It's not real people. They are fictional characters. It is anime. Same thing with video games. They are not real people. I wish we could understand that sometimes. I know most of us logically thinking people do know that, but unfortunately there are those people who don't seem to see that. I come from a time where I remember things like the Satanic Panic, for example. It was during back then when everyone was trying to label Dungeons and Dragons as evil and satanic. Magic the Gathering was thrown in there. You also had Vampire the Masquerade, which there was a whole big thing that happened because of that. You can look that up. But the point is they're just games. And unfortunately for me, I had a parent that understood that. So I didn't really have to worry about it. But, you know, I had some friends where their parents threw out their D&D books and things like that. And it was a shame, really. The other thing I do remember is, I'm sure some of us remember when Mortal Kombat was the height of controversy. In fact, it's one of the main reasons we have the ESRB today, because, you know, games started evolving and they started pushing the envelope on what they can get away with. And, you know, next thing you know, we've got violence and everything like that. Mortal Kombat was huge for me growing up, that's for sure. But to me, this seems like it's right on the same course of that, saying this is bad and you shouldn't watch it and we need to think of the children. Like, come on. First of all, let adults enjoy the entertainment they want. it should be up to the parents to decide what their kids can and can't see. In fact, as a parent myself, it is my responsibility to make sure that my kids understand what is right from wrong and what is fiction from reality. So I could go on that rant the whole rest of the day, but let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. I'd be very curious, and that's really all I have for this today. If you did enjoy the video, please consider giving a like, and if you're new here, I would please also consider subscribing to the channel. I would also love to have you here. All right, that's all I have. Everyone have a good one, and peace out.